way, as me and him kind of came up together years back with that, and it's good to see him back at the top tables with an opportunity to maybe take a win off of a big player here in Grant Manley, who's been on an absolute tear recently.
Now we're starting things off. Round 6 here. It's looking like Steven is going to go first with that Cramorant in the active spot, but does have a quick ball.
And blinged out as well. See the hand, a lot of gold on that side for Steven, so this will definitely be fun to watch as the Golden Echoing Horn, an interesting inclusion. It's going to go to the discard pile early.
Now I want to talk about those prizes that we saw a little bit ago. Grant prizing Boss and Serena. Those are the only cards in the deck that are able to bring up a Pokemon from Steven's bench. Meanwhile, Steven prizing 3 basic energy.
Yeah, that is going to be tough. It's very tricky especially when you just have a certain piece of the deck that you're not able to search, and then of course you have multiple of those in the prize cards. It definitely means that you're going to have to get a lot of work done early on with a card like Cramorant, maybe attacking with no energies. But starting in the active with it is not ideal either. You want to get those cards into the lost zone so you can get rolling.
Now Steven just eyeing down what is in the prize cards, seeing, yeah, I'm going to be down those 3 energy and even an ordinary rod. Only 2 in this list. And this is going to be a card that we don't really see. Rangaroo V with, I believe it's back order ability, searching your deck for 2 tool cards if it's in the active spot and put them in your hand.
Yep, working in the warehouse, finding those tools, and it's an interesting inclusion, but it's also really cool to have that V Pokemon there. You can, of course, attach the Forest Seal Stone to this Pokemon early on if you need to. And there's the Air Balloon, going to bring this Pokemon into the active and immediately get the back order rolling.
It's a long way to get to Battle VIP Pass, but you're able to do it here in combination with Forest Seal Stone. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is a very interesting way to get the cards moving right now. As we see the Forest Seal Stone, it's going to be featured early on. This is a great way to obviously find the perfect card for your turn on this opening. And it's not as good when you're going first, as you're not going to be able to find that Course Experiment and start to get all those cards in the Lost Zone. But you can definitely get a decent setup here. Maybe find those Comfeys and that Battle VIP Pass and get moving.
It does also have another utility of being able to search that one of Choice Belt for those matchups. You need it like Lugia with your Zeraora. And we're going to see Steven here use that V-Star ability, Star Alchemy from that Forest Seal Stone to grab any card. So a roundabout way to search your deck for any card, but you're able to do it pretty easily here thanks to Rangaroo V.
Yep, Battle VIP Pass going to be the play now. Some additional Pokemon into play. Obviously, that Radiant Greninja, those Comfeys, those are great cards to find early on in the situation. Don't know if we're going to be able to get the Comfey into the active spot, as we've seen already that Air Balloon. There's a second Air Balloon in hand, but there's already a tool attached to this Rangaroo V. But we'll see if this turn can see a few more cards.
Well, a good way to see a few more cards is that Radiant Greninja being able to use its concealed cards, discard an energy, draw 2 cards for the turn. You can do that every turn as long as you keep having those energies. It is going to be shut off by something like Path to the Peak, though, a card that Grant plays in multiples in this Regigigas deck.
Yeah, I was looking at that, and interestingly enough, found 2 Pokestop featured in the list here for Steven, so has a little bit of counterplay that we don't always see.
And Steven kind of playing the older version of Lost Box with that Kyogre from Celebrations, being able to kind of just thin the deck down enough to where it's only energy, and then you take advantage of that attack and Aqua Storm 2 of your opponent's Pokemon for hopefully 4 prizes.
Yeah, that's definitely a great find, especially in a matchup like this where the knockouts don't line up perfectly against all of the Regis, but if you can knock out 2 of them at a time with Kyogre, you can definitely clean the prize exchange up. There we see the Comfey is going to go ahead and grab that Sableye straight to the Lost Zone. Sableye is a Pokemon that works out very nicely when your opponent has 120 hit points, and we don't often see that on the other side.
Yeah, the only Pokemon that actually has 120 hit points in the Regigigas deck is that Regieleki, and the supposed good one, not the bad Aleki. But with Grant's list, only playing 1 of those.
That's a good point. We are not going to see too much Terra Spark featured, as it's just the one of this time around. looking to help out in some different matchups. But look at this, monkeying around. The Oranguru, second one down, has not the V. We have a very interesting setup, and it's a pretty solid turn, although it only ended up with one card in the loss zone for Steven.
Yeah, you got to hope for a little bit more, but with only one Comfey in play and you're having to retreat, use escape rope to get all that stuff, really just ended with that one. Meanwhile, Grant starts things off.
Boy.
Scoop up net.
Bad Drago in the active. Not going to see any Dragon's Horde. Path to the Peak. Professor's Research going to throw away the Aurora, which is nice.
Is that a basic fire energy? Are we getting spicy yet again?
I don't make the rules, but yeah, Grant is definitely trying some interesting things here.
Trekking Shoes discards Ordinary Rod, picks up another Regigigas here. Not really what you want to see. Double Quick Ball, you'll be able to get a couple more out. You have that gift energy as well. But from the looks of it, I don't think Grant's going to pull together a pretty good turn and get an attack off.
Yeah, we'll see if some more of these Pokemon can be found. Just two of the Regis right now. I'm going to add that Registeel off the Quick Ball.
And now for those of you at home that don't really see basic energy in Regigigas, Ancient Wisdom is able to grab any energy. It's not just special, but that's usually what these decks play just because the special energy are some of the best ones in the game.
They are. And maybe this is a nod to how we'll see Regigigas played in the future. As it's going to lose a lot of cool energies. And it's going to be playing a lot of interesting cards to try to stay afloat.
It does help hit that early attack with that Regidrago. Both of them do take a fire energy to attack, so that means you're just one less Aurora energy later. Now has the steal off the Quick Ball, can play the other Quick Ball and possibly attach the gift energy. But other than that, Grant's going to have to pass the turn back, even though there is quite a few Auroras in the discard.
Yeah, found all the right energy, just not the Pokemon to go along with it. So it's just going to be gift pass.
Action back to Steven now is really going to have to find that Colress's Experiment. And I guess right as I'm talking about it, it's going to show up. Top 5 cards. You get to choose 3 of them, put them in your hand. The other 2 go in the lost zone, and that's going to help kind of fuel the ability from Cramorant. You have that flower selecting, and from there, Cramorant can attack for free.
Yep, Cramorant is a nice inclusion, of course, when you're trying to get the early damage down, but there's such an interesting prize map to how you want to play this game. Do you want to start to use Moonlight Shuriken, deal damage to a couple Pokemon, and then try to clean them up with Sableye? Do you want to use this Cramorant and put pressure on your opponent to have that scoop-up net? Over and over again, you see players really trying to find interesting ways to knock out the Regis in this matchup, and it's not like you can immediately go into that Kyogre.
It's also not like immediately you can go into that Moonlight Shuriken, especially with Steven's start. Usually you want 3 in the Lost Zone turn 1. Turn 2, you get the other 4. Then you can turn on Mirage Gate. Steven's going to be a little bit far away from that, at least for this turn. And I think because of that, we're going to at least see that Spit Innocently. And it does lower the damage output from that Regidrago.
Yep, that's a good point. And maybe we won't be seeing this Pokemon attacking anytime soon. And Steven's just going to attack in, have to play it slow, but rightfully so. And just not seeing the Comfeys chained together is a little bit unfortunate here, as we are going to see that last bench space filled by the Manaphy. So a nod to the Terra Spark.
Little does he know. No.
What a fool.
No. Primate Wisdom for Steven. Going to put a card on top of the deck. Most likely something like Colress's Experiment for next turn, because Regigigas is known for playing 4 copies of Marnie. And with the retreat, thanks to that air balloon, 110 damage on that Drago in the active spot.
Grant finding the wrong Pokemon here, as it looks like Regidrago, the other one, is added to the hand, along with the Regigigas that's already in the hand here. It's just a little bit awkward. It's not finding the right ones to play down. Going to use that Quick Ball there to search out the other Regieleki.
Thankfully does have a Marnie in hand, so will be able to put him back in the deck without having to discard him with something like a Professor's Research here.
Yep, a lot to ask right now from the deck. You're looking for 2 more Reggies, and even then, attacking with the wrong Drago doesn't feel
All
the
right,
best.
well,
but hey,
we found the 2 Reggies, but no way to get out of the active spot here.
Grant's like, yeah, I did it, but like, at what cost?
Now, with plenty of Aurora energy to go along with it, Grant has the option to maybe Ancient Wisdom the active and then retreat for Electromagnetic Sonar, depending on how good the rest of the hand is. But you have a Professor's Research, so I'm not sure if you really need much more, but I think that's going to be the play here.
Yep, it lines up here, makes a lot of sense. Maybe you can find a different card that you want to preserve. The Scoop Up Net seems like a solid one, as you don't like keeping the damage on board.
And that is going to be a big thing later on, just because when 10 cards get into the Lost Zone, you have that Sableye with its Lost Mine attack being able to place 12 damage counters anywhere on your opponent's side of the board. If there's a bunch of Reggie Pokemon that have 110 from Spit Innocently, they're going to get knocked out pretty fast.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of players try to avoid, is keeping the damage on the board. It's an easy way to clean up and give a lot of prize cards to Steven early on. Do see that escape rope from Steven now. Grant has a decision to make. Could just promote the Reggie Drago and try to give that away, but
you got back the net for nothing. Then essentially you're going to discard it.
So this makes sense. Promote some high hit points. Try to stick around for a little longer, and maybe you have a different target for that Scoop Up Net if you like the Regigigas a little more.
Now, this has been the weirdest board for a Lost Box deck I think I've ever seen. Just one Comfey. That Oranguru V already used the Forest Seal Stone. And really going to have to cobble together quite a few more cards in the Lost Zone before you can start doing things here. And we're going to see a Mirage Gate hit the Lost Zone as well.
Yeah, just a lot of pieces that you'd like to use, and they're not lining up. That Path to the Peak doing a lot of secret work, and there it goes. Pokestop going to help out finally. Can use this early. We'll see if we find some nice pieces.
Oh, that's not a nice piece. Sorry, that's terrible.
Boy. Yep.
We haven't seen Pokestop as a stadium for a while, and this might be the reason why.
That's not ideal. Maybe Radiant Greninja was supposed to go first.
Yeah, probably.
Well, now we're going to draw into 2 items, as that's just the way the Pokestop should work.
Not going to give us any hint of what they are. Steven needs a Chloris' Experiment to be able to hit that Magic 7 number for Mirage Gate. But with the way he's played this handout, I'm not sure he quite has it. Yeah, just has the Bird Keeper here. Switch your Pokemon and draw 3 cards.
Yep, sometimes this, as the 5th supporter, ends up being helpful into getting those extra cards into the Lost Zone, but that's only when you have the additional Comfeys, and we only see the 1 right now, so it's going to be draw 3. Re-promote this Cramorant into the active. General attach onto that Radiant Greninja, and we're going to see the Spit Innocently once more, but we know that the Scoop Up Net is held.
It does make it an interesting play because you can Scoop Up Net the Regigigas and promote whatever attacker you want, but it's also a pretty good attacker against most of the cards in Steven's deck. Just 150 damage, 150 HP, it's hard to deal with.
Yeah, I suppose if you do find additional energies later on, you also could use the Ancient Wisdom right now, then use the Scoop Up Net, and then have the opportunity to get some additional energies into play if you can get some more discarded.
Hey, even right now, Reggie Steele is a good attacker thanks to those air balloons.
We've been waiting for our time to shine. Here we go.
And here is that Ancient Wisdom. Hey, Grant's been hearing me, apparently.
Yep, I remember a unique situation where my opponent threw down an air balloon onto their Ice Rider Calyrex.
Oh, no.
With the Registeel, and I was like, oh, I win.
440 damage, just pretty easy. Professor's Research finds a new hand for Grant here after that scoop up. Trekking Shoes, one of the more utilized cards in these Regigigas decks have fallen by the wayside sometimes. And
Wow.
Pokestop.
Pokestop. That's so good. The additional energies are thrown in there. Path reestablished, and Regigigas once more can accelerate some of these energies.
Yeah, Pokestop is actually a very good card in Regigigas, but you need the Path to the Peak to beat something like Duraludon VMAX, so we usually don't see it anymore, but it's very beneficial. You get item cards to your hand, energy to the discard. That's exactly what you want.
Yeah, if Reggie's didn't care about the meta, it would play this card because it's so good for their style of play. And sure enough, we see additional energies down into play, Ultra Ball added to the hand, an easy knockout there for Grant.
Yeah, and Grant is not cheating, was able to use the Ancient Wisdom before the scoop up net on the Reggie Steel. And then since it was played down again, you can Ancient Wisdom yet again. So that's why we see those energies on the Reggie Alecki. Now, Steven does have the second Pokestop to bump that Path to the Peak. Is going to start things off with Flower Selecting. Again, needs to find Colress's Experiment right now.
Throwing away the scoop up net makes me think that this has to be a pretty solid find, but I can't believe that we're still only at 6 cards in the Lost Zone. I mean, with a turn 1 for a Sealstone used and back order finding all these cards and everything that's been happening here, it's almost unbelievable that we're not at Mirage Gate time yet.
All right, we Primate Wisdom first to get an item guaranteed on the top of the deck. Oh, double scoop up net, heavy ball.
Ooh.
I like drawing 3 cards for free.
There you go, especially when I put one up there. I know that it's going to work this time.
Hisuian Heavy Ball now allows Steven to look through the prizes, can grab that Comfey, the only Pokemon in there, but now we'll see the Ordinary Rod and 3 energy still left in there.
Yep, some solid resources for if you ever start drawing some prize cards. But Grant's just doing a great job of denying those prizes, using the scoop up nets, grabbing one back with the sonar as we saw earlier, and putting the pressure on. Taking the early prize in this matchup can definitely be indicative of who is going to win the game. And of course there is that opportunity for Steven to work his way back into the mix with Kyogre, but that involves all of those energies, that Ordinary Rod. They're all in the prizes.
The one hope is to draw the Hisuian Heavy Ball again and reshuffle just because they're all at the top.
One more time.
Comfey to the bench, retreat thanks to that air balloon. We'll have another Flower Selecting, and finally, Steven is going to be at 7 cards in the Lost Zone. This is where the deck starts to get a little bit scary because you can finally open up pretty much any attacker.
Yeah, I got worried about ways to switch Pokemon because we saw so many air balloons and other cards used with that Bird Keeper, but we just saw the Pokestop there finding double scoop up net, so obviously going to use that to help out here. Looks like thinking about cashing in on the Radiant Greninja this turn.
We do have 7, so you can attach Return, you can Mirage Gate, get a couple energies everywhere else, but honestly, the way it seems, this is the only attacker that Steven really has that's profitable.
Yep, there's a situation where you don't go after the knockout on the Reggie Drago. You just put that damage down onto some other Pokemon and then try to clean up with a huge Sableye. You can deal the 40s all around and take 3 prize cards in one turn. If your opponent doesn't have the scoop up nets to deal with it, it's a lot to ask, but sometimes when you're down in prize cards, you have to play that way.
There we see, that's the last Psychic Energy, at least for right now, with 2 of them getting discarded with the Pokestop. So this is a big commitment from Steven here, because if he attaches it, that means you're going to have to find the other Ordinary Rod or Energy Recycler to get those energies back and hopefully use Sableye.
We're going to see that energy used with concealed cards.
Oh, okay. And finally, Colress's Experiment yet again. Going to be able to thin down a little bit more and creep ever so closely to that 10 cards in the Lost Zone for next turn.
Yep. Not much deck remaining. You have to think some of those resource gatherers, those energy recyclers, Ordinary Rods potentially would be a great find in this situation. Bring some of those energies back. I believe it was at least the water and the 3 psychic. There might have been another energy included in that mix, but a lot of resources down early.
Well, there's about to be more if Steven has another energy here. Question is, does he? Opting about benching a Pokemon here.
Yep. Every micro decision here so important. Trying to position yourself to get some additional prize cards, get ahead of this deck, as you know your opponent is going to be taking likely one prize a turn for the rest of the game. Now you just have to make the math line up. Thinks that the benching of the Sableye is going to be helpful now.
I don't know if that's going to do it this turn, at least. I guess with Grant did have a couple of those search or the boss's orders in the prize cards. So unless he got that from the one prize card, the Sableye is kind of okay. And we do see the Ordinary Rod. So this will allow Mirage Gate to be used if there's no energy left in the deck, which there possibly could not be. And you can get the Moonlight Shuriken off.
Yep, seeing the Ordinary Rod before the Pokemon are knocked out means that we're not going to see as many Pokemon to help out in the closing of this game, which can be tricky. You're trying to maybe use that Kyogre a second time or reuse these Sableyes to help out. But we saw this used before the Energy Recycler, which I believe is in hand. So just valuing getting these energies down and then having the full effect of all 5 off the Recycler later on, which adds up with the prize cards.
Finally, we're going to see that Moonlight Shuriken important places on the damage, and it looks like Steven will take the knockout on that Reggie Drago and 90 damage on that Reggie Rock to go along with it. Which, pretty important. Grant did top deck a Scoop Up Net.
Yeah, exactly. Every one of those that happens is basically a prize card that gets wiped off of the board, and that's so important for Grant to do over and over again. Steven, understanding this, wants to take the prize card now, but missing out on so much damage. You start to wonder, is there going to be enough damage to close a game out like this?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Grant is still going to have to work through a lot of single prize attackers on Steven's side as well, but when you boil things down, Regigigas is the best single prize deck in this format, and if you're trying to do that game with Regigigas, they're going to come back over and over, Ancient Wisdom every turn, and it's really hard to keep up.
Yeah, you have to catch them slacking and disrupt the hand at some point or something like that. That's not something that Steven's deck is capable of doing.
Oh, Kyle, I don't see slacking anywhere in these lists.
Well, if we did, maybe that would spice things up. As right now, it's definitely looking to be in Grant's favor. There is, of course, some comeback mechanisms from Steven's side. That Kyogre is going to be crucial at the right stage of the game. But Grant just playing very consistently, has the prizes lined up each turn, and it's going to just continue to get these Pokemon onto the board and have a fighting chance at a prize card every turn.
And it's really going to depend on how many resources Grant saves for the end game. If your opponent is going with that Aqua Storm with the Kyogre, hit 2 of those Reggie Pokemon in play. If you don't have Ordinary Rod left, you might not be able to get those back down. Ancient Wisdom yet again.
Got to play the Mirage at the right time, too, to get that Pokemon back down. It's you're asking so much. You need to have 8, well, at least 6 energies, and they have to be the right placed energies, too.
Oh, and Grant did find the one boss's orders in the prize cards and uses it to bring up that Oranguru V. Had to read it and saying, okay, you're going back in the discard right now.
Oh, it's weak to fighting. Cool. that was the extent of the read there, and that's going to work out just dandy. Taking the 2 prize cards, really thinking about the prize race here. It does not matter what's on board for either of these players, pretty much.
Yeah.
Steven can manufacture a Pokemon with the Mirage Gate out of nowhere any turn, and Grant is going to do the same thing with the Ancient Wisdom. So ignore the boards, look at the prize cards. Right now, Grant's on top, and Steven has a lot of work to do to catch up. And we've already seen half of the clock used in this opening game.
honestly, every round has been a very long game one so far today on stream. Both these players really just taking their time and thinking out the perfect possible plays for the moment, and especially with a deck like Lost Box, it's one of the hardest decks to play in the format.
Yeah, it's very tricky. I feel like every time that I've found an opportunity in this matchup to do well, I placed a lot of damage early with Sableye to a bunch of different Reggies and put my opponent in a weird situation where Scoop Up Net wasn't beneficial, but seeing the strategy play out here, I don't think it was really up to Steven in this spot. He just has to keep attacking with 110s and 90s, and it just lines up so easily for Grant to play the Scoop Up Net at the right time.
I guess as we go through the rest of this game, it's going to have to... Grant's going to have to rely on those last remaining Scoop Up Nets, and thankfully, in the beginning, did Electromagnetic Sonar 1 back to the hand, and it was utilized. And here, Steven is just going to retreat. Finally, Lost Mine's active, 10 in the Lost Zone. The Reggie Rock, important, can't attack this next turn, so Grant is going to have to retreat it and charge up a different Reggie Pokemon.
Oh, we'll see what the strategy is with the damage counters. Do you want to target a few Pokemon in this situation to maybe line up for what, another Radiant Greninja? How do you make this work in this situation? It looks like 4s are going to be the numbers lined up, and that definitely lines up with the Radiant Greninja fairly well.
You can't scoop up all of these, I guess. And so as long as 2 of them have 4 damage counters going into Steven's next turn, that Radiant Greninja is going to clean up. And wow, Grant needs to stop top decking these scoop up nets. Because yet again, found one.
Yep, it doesn't feel as great as you're not removing the 90, but I mean, it basically is a prize card from this point, so this feels pretty solid. If you can do 2, then of course you're in a really strong spot, as the Radiant Greninja won't be taking 2 prize cards in a single turn.
Oh, there is that scoop up net. Clears that damage from the Reggie Steel, and we have a Marnie from Grant, so the big hand that Steven's been building up for a few turns goes to the bottom. I don't even believe there's many cards left in Steven's deck, so you're going to draw a few cards from that. Yeah, just 1? All right.
Yeah, he's going to start drawing into his hand.
Yeah. This is where you actually shuffle with Marnie for your opponent.
This matters now.
Hisui Heavy Ball, just to take a look at those prizes that are remaining. 3 cards left in the prize cards for Grant, 5 for Steven. And with the way the mapping has kind of been for this game, it looks like Grant has a pretty solid position for these next few turns.
Well, I think Grant actually found his last scoop up net, if I'm not mistaken, which means that if he wants to avoid the double knockout from the Radiant Greninja, could do that. I guess it's a lot of resource commitment, as you maybe want that to move some Pokemon in the right situation, avoid your opponent stalling in a spot, or of course like these situations where we're going to see this Red Rock retreat because it can't even attack.
I think that's what Grant is debating right now. Do I use this scoop up net? I think you have to. Your opponent is telegraphing that Moonlight Shuriken straight away.
And Steven's like, all right, dude, that's the 5th net. What's going on here? But no, that's why you play the sonar. You like sneaking in that extra Regieleki.
And we're going to see that retreat from Grant here. Giga Impact stopping that Regirock from attacking. And thankfully, this Regice is able to take the knockout with just 100 damage.
Yep, Blizzard Bind. Solid way to continue to take prize cards. It's the name of the game here for Grant. And Steven now has to find multiple prize turns, which is so difficult, as we saw the Sableye plan thwarted early with both those scoop up nets, which was a lot to ask. To find the second one off of the Marnie was pretty tough.
And the thing about the way Steven has built this Lost Box deck, it's all reliant on that Kyogre for the end game. And the thing with Kyogre, once you attack with it, you're pretty much done. Like you want to attack to win the game with it.
Yeah, usually you throw away the deck to perform the move. So we'll see if that's even an option to use twice. I mean, we've never seen it used once on stream. I feel like we've still been waiting for this. So at least give us that, Steven.
I don't know. I think we're still going to be waiting just a little bit longer here. Now Steven does have the Pokestop.
Okay.
3 items. I mean, you know your entire deck by this point. There's got to be a ton of items left.
Right, yeah. I mean, you put this entire hand back into the deck, which is now all going to come right back here with the Pokestop. So all the resources are there. It's just, can you chain them? It's only 4 cards left.
Now
so
there's 9 cards.
The Energy Recycler is going to bring it up to 9. You bring a few back with the Mirage Gate, and then you go for a big discard. I don't even know if this is the turn for it, though.
Yeah, and still 3 basic energies left in the deck. This is putting a big tax on Steven's resources left. 3 psychic energies and 2 waters to the deck.
Yeah, I don't know if it really makes sense with the energies that we see right now for this to be a comeback, because we have the 3 psychics, but we don't have any of the Pokemon that like those psychic energies. They've all disappeared. The Ordinary Rod was used early for just energies, and the other one's in the prize cards now. So
yeah, that's
trying to make all of these water energies work to maximum effect is going to be so tricky from this point out.
1 Sableye in the Lost Zone, 1 knocked out last turn. No way to get him back anymore. It's going to all ride on Radiant Greninja, it seems like. Maybe even the Snorlax with its thumping snore.
But even then, Snorlax, an easy knockout. If there's another Regice to follow up, we definitely would see another prize card easily taken for Grant. So Radiant Greninja going to be the choice. Would have loved to see 40 damage on any other Pokemon to go along with this for a double knockout, but that's not going to be the case here.
All thanks to Scoop Up Net from Grant. Just such a powerful item card that we've had throughout this entire format has really enabled a lot of cool plays from these single prize decks.
I feel like we talk a lot about the defensive boss trying to stall and buy time. We don't get to see the defensive Scoop Up Net that often, but occasionally it works out really well. A lot of Lost Zone players have to work that into the mix to try to clean up their bench space and avoid giving prize cards to Moonlight Shurikens, and sure enough, it's happening on the other side. Opponents are very understanding of how this matchup works, and Grant especially has probably seen it a couple hundred ways from the other side.
And Grant working out this past turn and the following turn perfectly, attacking with the Regice, has the Regice in hand already. So from there, we'll be able to attack, take the knockout, and then just 1 more. It seems like Grant has this game pretty much locked up.
Yep, to continue to go for some resources, there is still that Pokestop available for Grant. I don't suggest that Steven uses it anymore, so there's not much left. But we will continue to see a little more draw here with the concealed cards, and Moonlight Shuriken should be lining up. There's the Kyogre.
We might see it at least attack Kyle.
Unless Grant throws down a V Pokemon that I'm not aware of, I don't know if it matters.
We need 2 of them.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yep. We need a few.
Draws cards from the Gift Energy. Such a powerful special energy card, especially for this Regigigas deck. Being able to draw until you have 7 if your Pokemon was knocked out during the previous turn. And that really just helps refuel the Ancient Wisdoms for the following turn.
Grant takes a look at the hand, says, well, I've got an additional Regigigas in hand. Already got a bunch of energies on this Regieleki that's not doing anything because of the mana fee. So maybe I just promote this Pokemon and have a easy retreat situation. But, I mean, if you got the energies, you might as well promote the Regigigas, and looks like that's going to be the case.
Path to the peak, bumping that Pokestop. Grant has that Regice, like I said, Twin Energy, which is going to help this Regigigas be able to attack with Gigaton Punch.
It's a lot of syllables.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's exhausting over here. Well, as long as you have the Gift Energy, feeling fairly comfortable. This is a Pokemon that can continue to attack for a knockout on everything on the other side of the board. Down to just 1 single prize remaining for Grant now. If this Pokemon is removed, you get to draw a nice big hand right back. So we'll see if Steven can find a way to take some prize cards here.
It's
but certainly not 4.
It's going to have to be Escape Rope, push this Regigigas to the bench, and snipe it down with the Kyogre along with another Reggie Pokemon and hope that Grant doesn't have the replacements for both of them.
Is there another recycler or something?
There is, yes.
Okay, that's also going to be a key piece, as we've seen a lot of energies right back into the discard pile.
15 minutes left in the round, still in game one. One has to think if Steven should have scooped this game up a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I think he found the right lines with the Sableye, but as soon as you see the double net, you have to understand this is getting to unwinnable territory. And you can't fault players for trying to find the wins, especially when you get on stream. You want to give yourself that opportunity to make that great comeback, but boy, it's tough to beat Grant Manley with his own deck.
Yeah. Grant has been one of the most dedicated players to Lost Box in these recent regionals, and it's hard to play against someone when they know exactly what you're trying to do, especially when Grant and his kind of group defined the Kyogre list for a while.
Yeah. Nope, we see plenty of cards in the lost zone.
I think we go for the deck out here.
Is there a Crabominable?
Flower selecting. No cards left in deck for Steven here. Has the energy recycler. Going to put 5 basic energies back in the deck, but then you're going to need to Mirage Gate at least one of them out. And then you Aqua Storm, discard the top 5 cards of your deck.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Steven's just doing this so we can have Aqua Storm on stream.
We've been waiting so long. The entirety of this deck's existence
Grant's
for
like,
this moment.
I'm going to cut. Oh, wait, never mind.
Oh, there's the Mirage Gate. Grab at least the water. And doesn't really matter what else is left. Kyogre can work its magic with the Aqua Storm, but it also means the end of the game.
What are we thinking about here?
Is there another way to shuffle back in that we're not seeing? Because I don't think it's there.
No, both Energy Recycler used. Ordinary Rod in the prize cards.
Well, then this is just for pure fun.
Hey, it's Pokemon.
All
What
right.
What can you expect?
Hey, I'm happy with this. This is this is what I've been waiting for. I don't care if you win. Just use Aqua Storm.
There is that escape rope, pushes the Regigigas down to the bench. Look, I said it right that time.
There you go. Just in time for the game to be over.
Yeah.
Well, if he just promotes like Snorlax and passes, I'm going to be very sad. This shouldn't be much of a decision.
Yeah, we're going for the surf.
I'm going to count out the resources. Is there any other strategy to go for? Is there Cramorants or any? No, I'm just seeing scoop up nets.
Grant has the most confused look on his face right now.
It's like, what are you doing? You're gonna do it, aren't you? I think we saw the attachment. No, the attachment was last round. It is Surf? No way!
We're so close to an Aqua Storm. But just a Surf for 120 damage. I'm sorry, Kyle.
This is not okay.
We're going to a game 2.
Grant wins. You couldn't give me the Aqua Storm just one time? You couldn't purposely lose for me, Steven? Well, that was 38 minutes.
that was 38 minutes and ended a little bit disappointingly.
Hey, you know what? I was trying to find the win, found a situation that almost made sense. You get this Pokemon into the active spot. Maybe you can buy enough time where you can start to take some prize cards, but there just wasn't enough resources to close
not
out.
at all.
Yeah, it was Aqua Storm time. What am I talking about? Come on. Giddy up.
Yeah, guaranteed 2 more prize cards, go down to 2 left, and then
Right.
Grant just passes.
Yep. You lose, and then you get to play 10 minutes of Pokemon.
Well, same result, but just a Surf later. And
Tough.
Steven is going to have to go into turbo time here and need to play really fast to win these next 2 games, you know?
Basically need Grant to not find the Pokemon.
Yeah.
If Grant finds all 6 Pokemon, I don't think this game can end. There's just not enough time. 10 minutes with all the additional effects and searching through, playing cards. I just don't see it happening. Well, Steven might not get to play Pokemon anyways. Double Mirage, double Rope, net.
Nice.
That is awkward for early setup and mid-game.
And late game.
I think you need both those if you want to close out a game in 10 minutes. But we'll see.
All right, Steven is starting game 2 here with an Ultra Ball. Has that Radiant Greninja on the bench. Comfey in the active spot and goes ahead and discards that Lightning for that Quick Ball.
Grant's opener, just one Pokemon. No way to initially search out more Pokemon.
Couple supporters, though.
Supporters and trekking shoes, so plenty of cards to continue. Steven going to go for the classic strategy here. Oranguru V.
It's classic?
Well, for him, if he doesn't go for this, then it's really weird.
Yeah.
if you're going to play these cards.
Oh, almost escape roped without using the flower selecting here. Again, you want to sequence things as best as possible to give yourself the best odds to draw into that Colress's experiment, get as many Lost Zone cards as possible.
Yep, there's the rope into the Oranguru V. Back order. Going to find some more of those additional pieces, but this is the weird part about using this on the opening turn is Forest Sealstone doesn't directly mean Colress's experiment, and I think it loses a lot of value when you use it on the opening turn.
Yeah, we might just see him wait, attach that Forest Sealstone, and kind of hope Grant doesn't have that turn 1 knockout with a Regirock.
Yep.
Going to start things off yet again with concealed cards from that Radiant Greninja. And Steven is chugging along here, has that Manaphy. But again, might end the turn with just one card in the Lost Zone here.
Yep, here's the Forest Sealstone. I'm going to use that early on, find the Battle VIP Pass, get some use out of that, maybe have 2 Comfeys this time around to work with.
2's better than 1, Kyle.
Has to be. We saw what happened with 1. It was not fun, as Steven ends up getting the turn 4 Mirage Gate. It was not ideal for a deck that could be so quick. This honestly is close to the Turbo style, where if you go second, you might be able to pull off that explosive turn. Which is also honestly surprising why he chose to go first.
I was just about to mention that. This deck is kind of built to get that turn 1 Colress's experiment. And when you kind of don't have access to multiple flower selecting, it's hard to get the numbers up in the Lost Zone.
Yeah, this seems pretty tricky, especially if your opponent has the right cards to play down and uses a Marnie. They basically reset your hand and all the work you did. You used your Forest Sealstone, and you don't have a Colress's experiment guaranteed. It could be really awkward. Grant sees that Speed Lightning energy and finds more resources. I don't think you can Marnie here. You're just trying to find Pokemon. You got to go.
Wow. All right.
Oh, we found no Pokemon, but he did find the Hisuian Heavy Ball.
There's no Pokemon in the prize cards.
Stop.
What is going on here?
Grant just wants to find a Pokemon to feel comfortable. He's not going to find it. Was there any other cards in the hand that he could play? Maybe a Trekking Shoes.
There is a couple Paths of the Peak. Aurora Energy, that's not going to do it. Regirock, okay.
Regirock, oh, that's so big. Just needed anything to stay in this. I believe that the rest of the hand is a Gift Energy and then the Serena that could draw into some more cards. So just needed to survive this opening turn.
Can Sonar back the Professor's Research as well?
That is a nice one to add. Grant survives what could have been a disaster.
To be fair, though, with only 1 card in the Lost Zone, I'm not sure if Steven really has the resources to get 7, get the Mirage Gate, attack with something that can actually take the knockout.
It's a great point. I don't know what knocks out anything on this board. We're attacking with the Oranguru V. It's what, Psychic or whatever?
Yeah, 30 plus 50 for each energy attached to your opponent's active.
That's
not doing it.
That ain't enough. Well, it is back on to Steven to play quickly. Get these cards into the Lost Zone with the Course Experiment. Maybe we will see that combo of Lost Vacuum with the Force Seal Stone if the pieces align. I don't know if they're there.
I guess there's a route where you can Moonlight Shuriken both Pokemon, then next turn try to do it again. But again, that requires 7 in the Lost Zone, so you can Mirage Gate. Here's a Pokestop.
Wow.
All right, that's not bad.
Solid finds. I really think the missing piece here is finding that Lost Vacuum. That could help out a ton into getting some additional cards into the Lost Zone and moving this Oranguru V at some point. Conceal card's going to try to help out.
Does only play that 1 copy, though. So usually with the kind of turbo-style Lost Box, they play at least 2 to be able to hit that magic number.
Or
And
you Seal Stone for the card.
that is true, yeah. But that has already been used just to pass the turn. No way to even get Comfey in the active spot. And this is what Grant needs. He just needs to survive for 4 more minutes.
Yep. I guess there's a decision on if you want to play the Gift Energy. That'd be the safer call, but got to go for the risk and find every Pokemon in the deck.
Well, that's one way to get all the
everything
Reggies.
except for the Drago there, Drago.
Oh,
If
yeah.
that was found, that would have been wild. I mean, not even a quick ball, just actually found all of the Pokemon. And Steven's like, dude, come on.
I think with the energy here, we can see maybe a Scoop Up Net, Reggie Gate, or you can just Sonar for the research again, do it next turn, hope to draw the Drago.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go about this. Could even consider the Marnie if you're worried about your opponent, but I think the name of the game is survive for 3 minutes.
Yep.
Which Grant is definitely lined up to do.
It's enough time to hold your breath, right?
I am not a Navy SEAL, so no.
Well, I'm a SEAL, so yes.
Congratulations. We're going to test your theory tonight in the hotel pool. Good luck, Jeremy. If you don't make it tomorrow, I'm going to cast with Skarzik.
Course Experiment for Steven here. Gets 2 more in the Lost Zone. Still 2 away from activating that Mirage Gate. Gonna Primate Wisdom here, put a card back on top.
I think the only way this works is really aggressive Snorlax, just attacking into everything, waking up and continuing to attack, or using escape ropes. But it's going to involve a couple more cards hitting the Lost Zone, maybe finding that Vacuum, and using a Scoop Up Net to pick up one of these other Pokemon. It's a lot to ask, especially when you also have double Mirage prized.
Yeah, it's
no big deal.
We don't need to talk about that. We're still trying to just get to 7.
It's literally my job to talk about that.
Second Water Energy on that Radiant Greninja on the bench for Steven here. And again, just not really applying any pressure in the times where you need to apply as much pressure as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, this has just been far too slow, and it's unfortunate because it looks like the list can explode, but it's just not finding the right pieces at the right time. A lot of awkward decisions, and it's interesting that Pad to the Peak really has just been a big issue. Not being able to draw those additional cards with the Radiant Greninja seems to be like the prime engine for this deck, as we've seen so many energies able to hit the discard when it is used, and sure enough, just slowing down.
Not only mentioning it does shut off, back order from Oranguru V,
tough.
like being able to fetch out an air balloon. Scoop Up Net, resetting the Primate Wisdom Oranguru here.
Oh, yeah. It is desperation time. Let's see if this one card can help. Needs a lot. I mean, basically, it's just the Vacuum gets a lot of pieces moving, but it's 1 in 30.
To be fair, it needs the Vacuum and can't search the air balloon, so it's going to need to have it in hand already. And then from there, you can Flower Selecting to get 6 in the Lost Zone. And yeah, there's just a pass of the turn back. Grant finds an Aurora Energy off the top. We'll play that Professor's Research, grabbed from the Sonar last turn. Finds the Drago as the last card here.
Yep.
And I think this is going to spell the game out, you know, under 30 seconds left.
Yep. It's a nice knockout lined up for the Regirock here on the Oranguru V. Get those additional prize cards. Way ahead here, 10 seconds to go. Steven still with not enough cards to use Mirage Gate in the loss zone. A lot of work to do here. He's going to get the bad news in 3, 2, 1.
And with the timer running down, there is the concession for Steven. Is not able to finish this game off. And with that, Grant Manley moves on to 6-0 here. What a great start for Grant.
Yeah, that's exactly how you draw things up when you're playing the Regirock deck. You want to play, or Regigigas deck. I guess it's a Regirock deck when you're playing against a Oranguru.
Yeah.
Because that worked out great. But the matchup's already favored in that it just, Lost Box doesn't exchange prize cards well with this. And then when you include the fact that this one is contingent on using a V Pokemon that's easily knocked out, it just lines up so well for Grant. Sure enough, makes quick work of it. It takes a long time as Steven's going to put up a great fight, but didn't give me the Aqua Storm.
Yeah, just did not want to go out in style that game one. Opted for that Surf. And with that still, no, my mistake. Grant is not going to 6-0.
You're right.
5-0-1.
Yeah.
Both of these players were 4-0-1 going into this round. So that means Steven is at 4-1-1 and kind of a little bit of a worrying position. You need to win at least 2 more to guarantee that day 2.
Yeah, a lot of other decks feel comfortable in these situations, but as Lost Box, you know that these games take a long time to play. And of course, if you win the opening one, you're going to feel very comfortable playing that second game, but it gets worrisome when you lose those early ones. So obviously, Steven looking to set up a little bit better.